It is a pleasure to be here with you today. Thanks, Lorien, for the presentation, and thanks for the organization for taking me in. This journey started back in 2015, when we presented the first smart contract platform that is powered by the Bitcoin network. And then it goes probably the most frequent question that I ever received, that is, okay, why Bitcoin? The same way the email and social media disrupted the Internet of Communications, Bitcoin has proved to be the tip of the iceberg of another disruption towards a new Internet, the Internet of Value. Bitcoin stands for two different things: the technology and the currency that is used to keep this technology alive. We have been talking only about the currency and the use case we know. Bitcoin has proved to be the safest and most secure settlement network, where after 60 minutes, a transaction is irreversible. This settlement lays the foundation for a new financial system, a foundation for a global infrastructure of value sharing. The power behind Bitcoin is what we call the Internet of Value. If we now add a business rule layer to Bitcoin as a store of value, the same way our society was built, based on agreements, we move from storing and transferring value to rebuilding the whole existing financial system. What is interesting is that this new infrastructure does not compete with the existing one. Anybody that wants to create a microcredit platform, a lending network, a voting system, can do it with no barriers of entry. The infrastructure is already there. Anybody can use it. This is what we have seen with the internet in the 90s. Information and communications have been decentralized. Anybody was able to share their opinion with no barriers of entry. This is what RSK is: a business rule layer built on top of the Bitcoin infrastructure. RSK is based in 4 different pillars. First of all, interoperability. RSK is fully compatible with many smart contract solutions available in the market. RSK is built as a sidechain to Bitcoin. That means we haven't created a new token. We have many tokens already yet. So we don't need a new one. We are using Bitcoin instead. We already have the most powerful one. Trust. A compound of 25 leading Bitcoin companies, mostly Bitcoin exchanges and wallets, are securing RSK funds. So every fund you send to RSK network is secure by people that is security savvy. And then we have security. The same people that is providing the security for the Bitcoin infrastructure is now securing RSK network. So every asset you create in RSK is as secure as a Bitcoin. RSK was founded in 2015 with the vision of financial inclusion as the North. Out of the 7.6 billion global population in the world, more than 2.2 billion people have no access to basic financial services. Now we have the key enabler, the killer app. The GSMA, a firm representing the mobile operators worldwide, says that there will be 5.1 billion smartphones in the world by 2025. That means 5.1 billion people requesting access to internet, social media, and financial services. At RSK, we are confident that by connecting the security of blockchain technology with the flexibility of smart contracts, we can create the next financial system that is open access, with lower costs, higher security, and more inclusive. Now let me share with you a brief video about RSK's vision.
Technology is changing the global paradigm of financial services, enabling innovation with endless possibilities. RSK has allowed Bitcoin Network to scale functionality and added business logic to make Bitcoin fully programmable. But this is just the beginning. Soon, a broader set of tools and services will be available over RSK, enabling the development of global use cases that can transform our lives. Because a more equal society is needed, and blockchain technology can help us build a more inclusive financial system. This revolution will empower communities and individuals across the globe. The Internet of Value is here, and you can be part of it. Join us in growing this new Internet to make the world a better place for everybody.
As we have been speaking this entire morning, we now know that blockchain technologies enable the development of a new digital financial system, where a bank in China can lend money to a farmer in Africa. And for this, reputation becomes critical. In a few years from now, our IDs, our passports, will not be as important as the way how we exchange value, how we trust our agreements. Having secure reputational systems built on top of the blockchain technology are the cornerstone of the Internet of Value. But now let me share with you RSK's greatest vision. As I said, we need this technology to go mainstream. And for this, we are creating a services layer on top of RSK that is called IOV, where we will avail different services for developers and for end users, those who need this technology the most. We are working on decentralized storage. We are working on payment channels to scale Bitcoin and RSK. That is a huge problem right now. We are working on directory services like phone book services, certified communications for privacy, confidentiality, security, and data feeds. For this technology to go massively adopted, we need to stop talking about blockchain technologies and start talking about the services and the value it delivers. Technology is not sexy, value is. So besides the IOV layer, we are working on some new features that will bring innovation to this nascent technology. First of all, scalability. We are working on a new layer that will allow us to scale up to 20,000 transactions per second. If we compare that with the 200 transactions per second from PayPal, over the 2,000 from Visa, 20,000 is innovation. That is huge. Fiat-based fees. We're working on a new feature to allow anybody to run their solutions on blockchain and pay them in their fiat currencies. Otherwise, we are struggling to tell people that they need now a token and they need a Bitcoin or whichever token it is. We need to make it easy for the people. Multi-platform integration. We can take the smart contracts to any other crypto economy out there. We can have smart contracts in Litecoin, in Bitcoin Cash, in Dash, and then we will start having interoperability with different crypto economies. Multi-language smart contracts. We need to make it easy for every developer to program the smart contract, the solutions. And of course, community rewards. If you are giving value to the network will give some value back to you as well. But that is not everything. We are not only building technology here. We are building a partner network to deliver top-of-the-class blockchain solutions powered by RSK. If you're a blockchain services company or a company developing your own solution, reach us out. We can help you make it happen. We also believe in the power of education. And as we are in the early stage of this new era, we are committed to bringing mass adoption through education. That is why we created the RSK Educate, an educational initiative to deliver 2 different blockchain courses. One for technical people, for developers. We need to bring as many as possible. There are just a few in the world. And the other one for business people, executives, decision makers. The goal is to help people understand what these technologies are capable of doing to our lives, the same way the internet did to the distribution of information. And finally, we are strengthening the Bitcoin community by bringing new RSK ambassadors on board that will help promoting this technology to every community in the world. We are organizing meetups, and we are strengthening the community, and we are building new communities around the Bitcoin community worldwide. You can join us here also. Thank you very much.
I would actually like to open the questions, and I keep monopolizing it, but I'm very interested to know how, with Bitcoin becoming very popular, with the block size issue, with transaction fees being high and confirmation times being slow, how does that impact Rootstock? Are you perhaps considering other currencies like Bitcoin Cash, something like that?
Well, RSK, we have our own blockchain, we have our own protocol that is built on top of the Bitcoin infrastructure. So we are trying to move away from those kind of issues. So that is why we can scale the transactions. That is why we can have execution costs as cheap as Ethereum. So we are talking about 10 cents of a very basic transaction. And yes, of course, we can take this smart contract, the programmability feature, to any other crypto economy.
What language would you develop smart contracts in?
Right now, RSK smart contracts are programmed in Solidity, so it's Solidity-based. Okay. But now we are working on new features to bring other language available. That is coming.
Sorry. So is the network actually Bitcoin wallets?
No, it's RSK wallets. We are developing, next week we will have the first RSK wallet available, but no.
Sorry, over here, to your left.
Why Bitcoin network and not the Ethereum network, for example? What's the advantages of building it on that platform rather than the Ethereum?
Well, when we first started with RSK, we looked at what Ethereum did, and it was something really, really great. But it didn't make sense for us to recreate the whole thing again. We already had, at that time, the most robust and the most secure blockchain network ever, that it was the Bitcoin network for us. So we are trying also to separate, to split, like the store of value thing that remains on Bitcoin, and then the business logic that remains on RSK. So we leverage on the Bitcoin and existing infrastructure, but we are keeping those 2 things very separately. And regarding the advantages, as I was saying, we have, as RSK works as a sidechain to Bitcoin, and we are working with the people that is doing the back office for Bitcoin, the Bitcoin miners. We can have cheaper cost than other smart contracts platforms. So that, having a more scalable solution, that is like quite a difference.
What stage of development guys at right now with the whole Rootstock project? And also, are you South African company, UK company, US company?
So RSK was founded in 2015 in Argentina. We're a global company. And we just released our productive network early January this year. So we have been running on a testnet for a year now, and we released back 2 months ago. So we are moving now, all the projects, all the companies that have been working with us, testing their solution in our testnet environment, we are moving them to our productive environment.
How many total tokens are you going to have? How many total tokens are you going to have? That's number one. And I am familiar with the Argentinian situation in terms of finance, the financial situation over there. Do you plan to incorporate RSK within the Argentinian economy? How do you plan to do that? Okay. First of all, RSK, as I was saying, works as a sidechain to Bitcoin. That means the RSK is pegged one-to-one with Bitcoin, right? So we are using Bitcoin as the native currency. We don't have our own token, okay? And regarding the second question, as for the cyclic economical crisis we have every 5 to 7 years, you will get to see a lot of blockchain startups in Argentina and Latin America. And that is why we are working with major banks, companies, and also central banks in Latin America. They want to test the technology, to feel confident with it, and to be ready for the next wave. Probably now we are seeing a lot of pilots, a lot of proof of concepts, where exposure is really low, with legal exposure is really low. But then we can move to, I don't know, digital money solutions built on top of RSK and blockchain technologies. So we are exploring that with major banks and central banks in Argentina. Oh, you've already started the discussion with the Central Bank of Argentina? And how many tokens total are you going to have?
No, there is no token.
There's no,
So I will come back to that later, no problem.
So what Rootstock essentially is a smart contract platform. It's not trying to replace Lightning Network, which is a transaction layer. So then, what are you playing in the space of Ethereum? Are you intending to be a direct competitor with Ethereum, or do you have other unique use cases that make you distinct from Ethereum?
Well, that is a good one. We see ourselves as another alternative to the smart contract execution. Ethereum, probably they arrived first. They created the whole market. They created a great technology, and mostly they created probably the largest community ever, probably. And that is great. So when we started first, we were talking to the Bitcoin community, because we have the Bitcoin supporters, the Bitcoin lovers, because they love the technology. And also we were talking to the Ethereum community, because at that time, that was the only alternative available in the market. So now we are seeing a shift in the market. Some of them, they have been working on other alternative, other platforms, because that was the only chance at that time. That is why one of our first decisions was to remain fully compatible with other platforms. Because if you have already worked for 1 year or 2 years in one technology, it didn't make sense for us to create a new programming language. So it's as easy for you to take your solution and deploy it in RSK, and it will seamlessly work. So that is why also we are trying to remain fully compatible. Adding new innovation, new features, bringing new features, but trying to remain compatible with our existing platforms.
I'll ask another. So you said that the fact that you're using Bitcoin right now, it's not that you are philosophically aligned with Bitcoin or anything like that, because you said you could put Rootstock on any other currency. So are you intending Rootstock to just be this generic side chain that can sit on Litecoin or even Monero perhaps in the future, or do you have an attachment to Bitcoin?
Well, when we started, we had attachment to Bitcoin, and we already have that. But again, we can take this functionality to other crypto economies, and that will give us interoperability. In fact, we can start integrating with Ethereum, Hyperledger, Blockstream, and then you will have real interoperability. Because otherwise, you will have Bank A in Asia, let's put it down here, and then we have Bank B in North America. And they will have different technologies. And how will they communicate within each other? So you will need, again, an intermediary to mediate within this blockchain A and this blockchain B. So we are trying to position ourselves as the interoperability layer.
Very good. If there's no more questions, then thank you very much, Henry.
Thank you.